poisoning stuff now. But even back then, there was rumors of people putting razor blades in apples, and we used to slam them on the street to see if there was a razor blade in them. And I've yet to see a razor blade in an apple. Also, I do remember, and I always felt a little bad because my grandmother used to make up those tiny little envelope bags, and she'd put like candy corn in them and like a bunch of little candies. And I remember my mom saying to her, "Mom, stop making up these little bags. The kids won't eat them. The parents will throw them out. They don't trust little packaged candies from people they don't know." But she obviously had such a nice time putting those together. But I always remember that around Halloween time. But we ate them. We took a little bag to go because we trusted that our grandmother did not poison the candy. And we're still here, so we were right. Gail says that she liked Mallow Cup. I'm not sure if I've ever had a Mallow Cup. I know that they have those is it Mallow bars, Mallow cookies, the Mallow bar cookies? Yeah, I'm not big into those. But I'm not sure. I think they still have the Mallow Cup. I'm not sure. Melissa says, always Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, still my favorite. Renee says Baby Ruth. Oh, that was my go-to candy bar for years. Marcy says, I loved those tiny boxes of malted milk balls. Nicole says Reese's and Kit Kat. Eleanor says Nestle Crunch. Love a good Nestle Crunch. They're good in the freezer, too. Monica says homemade popcorn balls. Yeah, I remember getting them when I was a kid. Now, Michelle says full-size candy bars. Yes. They were rare. I remember one time I think it was a Milky Way, and I was saving it for last. We had a big bowl in the kitchen, and I think we each had our own bowl of candy. And I guess we were very trusting that nobody would steal from us. But I do remember I was saving that full-size Milky Way for last, because that's what I always did when I was a kid. I saved the best for last. And I remember my mom asked me if she could have it, and I was like, what I said to her was, well, I was saving that for last. And she said, okay, forget it, and then got mad at me. And then I felt terrible eating it. I didn't enjoy it, but I did still eat it. And I know that my brother and sister-in-law used to give out full-size candy bars, too, because they live at the top of this massive hill. And she said that if they walked up that hill, then they deserved a full-size candy bar. But I don't think they get kids because they told me that they stopped even buying the candy bar. Denise says that Reese's is her favorite. Carol Ann loved Snickers. Joe says it was a tie between Snickers and Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Diane says peanut butter cups, yummy. Mandy says Reese's. Patty says large Hershey bars with almond. Janet, full-size Hershey bars. Yeah, you know, when people are giving out full-size, it usually is Hershey's. Hershey's or the two Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Dawn also says full-size Hershey's Special Dark. That is very specific. Pam says licorice. Not a fan. Now, Gail says, did you see that the top candy this year is Skittles? It overtook Reese's. I don't know. Skittles, I mean, I can have a handful. I would never consider them a favorite. Mimi says Milky Way. Linda says Butterfingers. Irene says money. We did used to get money when we went trick-or-treating as a kid. Normally it was a quarter or a couple of pennies. But yeah, money was always good. Veronica says Hershey bars with almonds. And then, like I mentioned, Lauren said not razor blades. No, razor blades would not be good at all, though. So I hope, and most of that candy is still available, so that's always a good thing. I'm surprised I didn't hear more Butterfingers. There was a lot. That was like a huge candy when we were, I guess, kind of growing up a little bit. I think it was fairly new. I'm not really sure, but maybe it was just coming into its own. But yeah, people loved the Butterfinger. I could take or leave a Butterfinger. I kind of prefer like almost like a Butterfinger ice cream pie over the actual candy bar. That's the one that the Butterfinger just kind of sticks in your teeth, kind of gets up in the groove of your teeth, and you can't get it out. It's annoying to me. I mean, it really sticks there. I mean, even after you brush your teeth, like it's still stuck up in there in that molar. Just does not want to come out. But Baby Ruths were my favorite for the longest time. My favorite now, which I do not believe they have in fun size, I do not believe they do, is the Fast Break, Reese's Fast Break. It's got all kinds of chocolatey and peanut butter and nougaty goodness. They are delicious. We will be giving out Take 5 bars. And like I said, these are bigger than fun size. They're not full size by any means, but definitely bigger than fun size. And I think it's cool to kind of give out a different kind of candy. So go us. I hope we get some kids tomorrow. So we'll move on to my blog posts. And today I will be talking about coming back from complete devastation. I put up a little collage of pictures that I had downloaded from Facebook during Hurricane Sandy, which actually was not a hurricane. It was a superstorm. They had downgraded it by the time it got here to a superstorm, which actually turned out to be a great thing for people and their dealing with their insurance companies, because we have, and I don't know if you know this, if you don't live in a flood-prone area or a hurricane-prone area, we have a separate hurricane deductible, where areas of, I think the deductible is usually 3 to 5% of most homeowner claims. When it comes to a hurricane, they bump that up. Or actually, no, it's a money, right? It's $1,000. It's like $1,000 deductible when you have a claim. But when you live on the coast here, at least, you have a separate hurricane deductible, which I believe is like 3 or 4%, something like that. I'm forgetting the numbers now because it's been a while since I had to deal with that kind of stuff. But I do remember thinking that I should keep, and I don't, I should keep a $12,000 in the savings account, because that is basically how much the percentage of a hurricane deductible would be for our house and the amount that we have it insured for if we were to ever need to rebuild. So, yeah, $12,000 compared to $1,000 is quite a difference. So it was actually really a good thing that it was downgraded from a hurricane before it actually hit. But it was 7 years ago when we woke up and started to see the devastating damage left behind by the wrath of Sandy. 2 days of rain, high winds, and flooding. There really wasn't even a ton of rain. There was rain, but it was mostly winds, which caused the massive flooding. If you were lucky, you were away from the Jersey Shore, who did get hit the worst with this storm. I know there's areas of New York that got hit really hard as well. But the process of coming home to see how your house made out, it was just the beginning. So Joe and I had just rented a house on the bay on Long Beach Island. We had only been in the rental for a month and a half when the storm hit. We left the morning before the worst was supposed to get to us, and the bay water was already spilling over the bulkhead. I remember we left about 7 a.m., and our full-time home was in Bucks County, so we definitely had a place to stay. I had to go to work. I had to go home that day, pack up a bag, and I went to sleep at the radio station that night. I spent 2 lovely nights in the radio station. Of course, we lost power like everybody else. We had a big, huge generator there at the radio station. So I was doing all-day reports on traffic and damage and any kind of news updates that we could get. Got to keep up with a lot of it on social media. Still don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but, you know, it is what it is. I worked in Princeton, New Jersey at the time, and I remember when I finally was able to head home, I saw these massive trees just uprooted and lying on their side, tree after tree. This was an enormous storm that caused havoc in many states, but it seemed that the worst was the Jersey Shore. Now, in the LBI area, there was up to 5 feet of water rushing into homes at one point, leaving destruction, total destruction in its wake. So the odd part is usually the case in these things is some parts of the island virtually untouched, others completely destroyed. And I will never forget when we were finally able to go back to the island to collect our belongings from the rental house. It took us about a month because we were part-time residents, and they required us to wait longer to get on the island than the full-timers. So the house that we had rented had nearly 5 feet of water and was uninhabitable. So we stayed in the upstairs portion of the house. So we didn't lose anything, but the woman who owned the house lost everything. And I will never forget the scene as we drove down the street, seeing a massive pile of furniture, mattresses, and trash at the curb, house after house after house, as people cleaned out their homes. Literally brought me to tears, as this was the place I called home for a number of years and had a lot of friends who lost it all. It's moments like that you think you will never get back to good. But now, 7 years later, it's been a long time. It is back to bustling. A lot of the old homes were knocked down and replaced with monster houses. The little shacks are gone for the most part, as many were destroyed. Rebuild bigger and better seemed to be the motto. Now, the particular neighborhood we have now settled in was hit extremely hard as well. The house that we currently live in was built on 4 feet pilings, so it was always elevated. It sustained virtually no interior damage from the storm. My neighbors, however, not so lucky. Now, most of them were part-time owners, so luckily they didn't have to find a place to live. But if they had, hopefully insurance was able to get you into a decent place. So they had somewhere to be where they could, fight with the insurance company and battle with builders and talk to the government and do what they needed to do. And after many battles with FEMA and the insurance company, most people now say they are better off than before the storm. Homes were remodeled, they were raised to better flood standards, and the federal government even kicked in money to help get your home in compliance with the new height requirements for homes in flood-prone areas. Now, it didn't pay for the whole thing, but it gave you a nice chunk. It's been a long road, and the path was far from easy, but if you can see down the road, realize that things will get better. It may even be better than where you started. There will definitely be a time when you'll feel a great sense of loss, a great sense of getting the runaround, but in the end, you may have a fabulous result. That what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, right? Just know that there will be times of complete devastation in life, hopefully not to this extent, but you can come back stronger and better than ever. So take that, Sandy. You didn't break us. We are here to stay and could not be happier. So as it is hump day, take a moment to think about a time when you felt like everything was falling apart. Think about where you are now. Remember, life goes in cycles just like everything else. There will be good times. There will be bad times. But it's all a part of the circle of life. I almost just broke out in the Lion King song, but I will not put you through that. So keep all of this in mind. Remember when you thought you could never live without them? And look at you, living without them. Awesomely, may I say. So the bad times will come, but you will get through them. And I want you to now go make this your best day yet.
Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist, hosted by Wendy McClure. For more inspiration, please visit Hopefulist.com. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow on The Hopefulist.
Ellen, have me on your show.